Today I'll be talking about my 10 favorite family coasters I've ridden. Family coasters are not the favorite when it comes to enthusiasts, but a good park needs some good family attractions, and even though they are smaller, they can still be very fun. But enough of the yap, let's begin with the video. Last place was still a decent ride is Pterodon Flyers. I've only ridden this once, and it's kind of a rare credit among the community since you need a kid to ride, since if you're too tall, you're not allowed to ride. But luckily for me, I have a little sister and could get one ride in about 2 years ago, but this ride is a perfect introductory for kids. No real thrills here, just some scenic turns above the ground that even the smallest of riders won't be afraid of. Then the views across the entirety of the Jurassic Park area are amazing and give it some extra points as well. Wild Mouse falls at the 9th spot on this list. This ride was new for the 2023 season and was a surprising ride for the first time when I hopped on. I personally think that almost all Wild Mouse rides suck since I don't like laterals that much, and I was just hoping that this would be a lot better. But this ride to me is a lot better than the traditional Wild Mouse. The spinning trains are fun, and when you get spinned a lot, it makes the ride 10 times better. Then the layout has some very small twists and turns that are very fun on this plot of land, and was a much needed family coaster that Cedar Point needed. Next up is Iron Dragon. This ride, being a suspended coaster, should have been a lot more intense than it actually is, but it still ended up being a solid family coaster. I love the swinging feature that these trains have, and always makes the rides on Iron Dragon so much more better. The first half can become a bit of a snooze fest, being that it's very slow, and I mean very slow turns through the woods, but the second half gets a lot better. After going up another lift hill, you get down close to the water with some very fun but smooth turns that everybody can enjoy. 7th place is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. This ride disappointed me the first time I rode, since it's not as big as Thunder Mountain and not nearly as themed, but over time this has become more enjoyable to me. The landscaping and overall vibe of the area on ride is not as extreme as Thunder Mountain, but it is still good looking and fun to go through some of the ditches and across other objects. Can't touch some of the coasters higher on the list, but it is still a fun kids ride that is smooth with some decent amount of theming and caves and other stuff. A surprise at number 6 is Snoopy Soapbox Racers. This ride is very new, but I think it's already on this list for multiple reasons. The smoothness is incredible, and some of the best in the world, if I had to say. Feels like you were just gliding on glass, and there is not even a sniff of a rattle anywhere. Then the ride itself is good as well, having a good drop, then a figure 8, which rises into another spike. The spike is fun, not as vertical as others, but it's still fun to fall backwards, and then go through the track again backwards, which is also very, very fun. Smooth, fun, unique, and amazing family coaster overall. First in the top 5 is Space Mountain. This ride is good, all things considered, but some overrate it a little bit. But past all of that, it's a good family coaster over there in Florida. The theming is probably the best at Magic Kingdom, with the futuristic building that it sits in and all that contains inside. So much of that future detailing in there, and then the ride, even though made in the 80s, is still elite theme-wise. The ride itself is also pretty good too, with some drops and turns in the dark, which that aspect gives it a couple extra points since it's unique and not many rides are just completely in the dark like that. 4th place is Adventure Express. I like this ride surprisingly a lot. It's just an era mine train, and most of the time they aren't that good, but this one had the privilege of being one of the last to be ever created, so it's pretty smooth all things considered. Then the added touches Kings Island did 2 seasons ago with the cherry on top. They added a lot more theming elements, which before it already had some theming, but it just made it even better. Almost anywhere across the ride there's something to look at, and all the turns and helices aren't too rough and very fun in my mind. Just overall very underrated and a good mine train. Up next is Thunder Mountain. Another Disney coaster falls here, and this one is just such a childhood treasure for me, since as a kid I loved lapping this ride multiple times in a row, since when I was 8 years old thought this was the best thing ever. The ride is insanely long, being that it's over 2 minutes of length and has over 3 lift hills to continue the ride going. Then the theming is amazing. The architecture across the entire ride is so hard to believe, being that it was made over 30 years ago, which is insane. The best family coaster at Disney that I've ridden so far. Might not be the best at Disney since I haven't ridden Guardians of the Galaxy, but this thing is so good. Journey to Atlantis falls at number 2. I haven't talked much about this coaster in the past, being that it doesn't really fit a lot of the videos that I've been making recently, but it's still amazing for families. The first half has some really good theming that I really did not expect the first time around, since it really is beautiful in there. Then the ride that follows is some very fun water-filled drops that are amazing for hot summer days out there in Florida, and there are some coaster sections too that are very fun with some turns and stuff. Number 1 is easily Haggards Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventures. This thing is a modern masterpiece and is more than just a family coaster. The theming is impeccable and some of the best in the world, with insane detailing across the entire queue and on ride with multiple animatronics, of course. Then you have a insanely diverse ride with 7 launches, which is a world record, a spike, backward section, and a drop track. Just an insane feat of engineering, and no wonder it was the most expensive coaster ever created, and even better that everyone can experience it, no matter how young you are, since even kids can ride. Thanks for watching. Tell me what your favorite family ride is, even though it's not a huge category for enthusiasts, but other than that, have a good day.